Voting Theory Class 4 Video 1. In this video we're going to talk about another famous voting system. This time we're going to talk about the instant runoff voting system. So this is a very important voting system and it's very popular among people interested in voting reform. So let's go on to the definition. The instant runoff voting system is a multi-round system. Okay, so that means like the winner is selected after multiple rounds, and the exact number of rounds depends on how many alternatives you have. So what happens? Well, in each round you eliminate the alternative with the fewest top preference votes. You eliminate the alternative with the fewest top preference votes. Okay, and then you redistribute the eliminated alternatives votes. So whoever you just eliminated, all the votes that would have gone to them, you redistribute to the next top preference. You repeat this process until there is only one alternative remaining, and then that is the winner of the election, whoever is remaining after you repeat this process. So this is very similar to the two-round runoff system, right? In the two-round runoff voting system, you eliminate everyone apart from the top two alternatives. In this voting system, you eliminate only the bottom alternative. Okay. One thing to notice is if there are only three alternatives, then the instant runoff is actually equal to the two-round runoff. And this is because in the instant runoff you eliminate the bottom, whoever came in last place, and in the two-round runoff you eliminate everyone apart from the top two. Well, if you only have three, everyone apart from the top two is exactly the same as whoever comes in last place. So when you only have three alternatives, these two voting systems actually become equal. But in general, if you have more than three alternatives, these two voting systems, the instant runoff and the two-round runoff, they are not equal. And they can give you different societal rankings, depending on the voter profile. Okay. So the instant runoff voting system, it's quite widely used around the world. Just some examples. Australia uses it to elect the House of Representatives. Canada uses it for some provincial elections. It's used in Ireland in a slightly modified form called the single transferable vote, and it's used in the UK quite a lot. It's used to elect the leaders of some parties like Labour, Lib Dem, Conservative, and it's also used to elect the Speaker of Parliament in the UK. Okay, so the way it works to elect the Speaker in the UK is similar to how the two-round runoff works to elect the President of France. What happens in the UK for the Speaker is it's a multi-day process, and each day they hold a new vote with one fewer alternative running. So on the first day, all the alternatives run. Everyone who wants to be considered for the Speaker, they run. They add up all the votes. Whoever came in last place, they get eliminated. And then the next day, everyone who's not eliminated runs again. So there's another vote. Whoever comes in last place is eliminated. The next day, whoever is still in the race, whoever has not been eliminated runs, and repeat until there's eventually only one person left. So it's essentially exactly the same as what we were talking about here, except the way that we define it, we don't require multiple iterations of voting because we require the voters to tell us their complete preferences right from the beginning. And that sort of eliminates the need for multiple rounds of voting because we know how a voter would vote if they didn't get their top choice. So let's move on to some examples. Okay, so the first example is very easy. It's this highway referendum looking example. The question is simply calculate the social ranking under the instant runoff voting system. So you calculate the top preference votes. I got 28 plus 9, which is 37. S got 2 plus 30, which is 32. And N got 0 plus 31, which is 31. So we eliminate n, because that's the lowest number. Okay, and I think it's useful to redraw the table. So I redraw it without the n. Like this. 28, 9, 2, 30, 0, 31. Okay. Now I again look at the top preference votes. So I now has 28 plus 9 plus 0, which is 37. And S has 2 plus 30 plus 31, which is 63. Okay. So what does this mean? So under the instant runoff voting system, the social ranking is so the social ranking is S comes first, then I, then N. Okay. We actually didn't even need to do all of this because we did this example, this voting profile in a previous video for the 2-round runoff. And like we mentioned above, right here, when there's only 3 alternatives, the 2-round runoff is exactly the same as the instant runoff. So we knew that the answer was going to be the same as the 2-round runoff. Okay. So that's this example. Let's move on to a more complicated example. So same question, calculate the social ranking under the instant runoff voting system. This time we have 4 alternatives. So that means that the instant runoff might not be the same as the 2-round runoff. So let's just begin. I want the number of top preference votes. So A gets 4, B gets 8, C gets 5, D gets 10. This means that I eliminate A, and just A. Okay. Now it's worth redrawing this. So if I eliminate A, what does my table now look like? It looks like this. 4, 8, 5, 10. Okay. Now I recalculate the number of top preference votes. So A is not in the running anymore, so just ignore A. So B simply has 8. C, now C has 4 plus 5, which is 9. And D has 10. So this means that I eliminate B, and I redraw the table one more time. Okay, calculate the number of top preference votes. So C has 4 plus 8 plus 5, which is 17, and D has 10. So this means that the social ranking under the instant runoff is going to be C comes first, then D. Who was knocked out next? B, and then A was knocked out in the first round. So this is the social ranking under the instant runoff. And if you think about it, this is actually different to the social ranking under the 2-round runoff. Okay, this is different. In the 2-round runoff, B was the winner, but now B comes in third place, second to last place. Okay, so this is the instant runoff voting system. that's the end of this video.